Welcome, everyone, to another episode, actually, a special episode of Open Mic with the MVP Marco. I am, of course, your host, the MVP Marco. Who else would it be? I don't think anyone else is stepping in unless, things change and I say something wrong and get kicked off the show, but I'm here for now anyway. So, anyway, before we get to my guests, I always have to push and plug the Pod Foundation. Now, the Pod Foundation is obviously the greatest collection of content creators and podcasters known to actually human history. I mean, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. We're pretty much the best. But obviously, we are the Turnbuckle Tavern, which I am on. I'm on the Raw Down every Thursday, 8 o'clock on YouTube. Definitely check us out there. The Chick Foley Show, first and foremost. That's the reason why I'm actually here. And that's obviously Sheena, Jordan, and Seth. That rounds out the crew there. And then we have the Extra Cooler Show with Nick and Matt and the Survivor Series team. And we also have J-Bone. I can't leave him out. I did mention him. So coming down the aisle with J-Bone. So that rounds it out. But like I said, every single day of the week, we have a podcast for you. And, we got you covered. You don't have to listen to anything else. I mean, there are other things that are out there, but you don't really need to listen to them. We have you covered. So with that being said, I'm going to bring my guests in. That was actually a really quick intro. I usually don't do intros that fast. Anyway, let me introduce my guests, plural, because this time I have two. They were on the show before, but this is a special episode, like I said at the beginning, because it's kind of like it's a Halloween special. I'm calling it the Open Mic Halloween Special. And I brought two lovely, young, talented people to accompany me on this journey. It's Casey. You know her better as Over the Moonsault. And Sheena, Chick Foley. Let me bring him on. Ladies, hello, ladies? No, I'm joking.
This might be the most beautiful episode of Open Mic ever to hit the air.
You're probably right about that one. I'm not going to disparage any other my
all this
guests.
fem power. You know what I mean? Oh, you always have beautiful guests, but I mean, you doubled up this time. You know what I mean?
It's ladies' night. I mean, come on.
It's straight up tag team action over
here. Exactly. Oh, I'm ready.
Well, I figured also because you two. I really enjoyed the episode I did with Casey early in the open mic when in its inception, essentially, and then obviously Sheena. And I kind of want to get you both together, just because I feel like you're both on those like opposite spectrums of obviously the thing we love about wrestling. Casey with the cosplay, and then Sheena with the commentary and cosplay and figure collecting.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm fangirling a little bit. I love Casey.
Same.
I think it's so cool because I mean, just everything she does, I'm just like every time she posts something, I'm like, it can't be better than the last one, and it's all like it just gets better and better and better. So if you're not following her, you can see Over the Moonsault, like Marco said, follow her. If you wrestling cosplay, just epicness on a new level. So
well, I can say the same to you, Sheena. I mean, Chick Foley, I've been following you since I got into the whole wrestling community. And I was like, and then when I got on the show with Marco and he was talking about how you got your name, Chick Foley, and I just love getting to interact and getting to know the women who appreciate wrestling and are fans of wrestling too, because 100%. We're still a minority in this, in this realm. And it's so great to just find that supportive group within a group.
100%.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to meet you in person.
Yes, I know.
I mean, the other part of that too is I told Sheena that when I first started the show was the main reason was to obviously give like an interview aspect of the Chick Foley show, but also highlight the women out there that are into wrestling and figure collecting and nerd culture, not just wrestling, just in general. As like I said, I've had Hail Liz. Her episode will be coming out soon. Obviously Queen G with her Ninja Turtle stuff, and I definitely, and then upcoming, I'll give it away. Sassy Sledgehammer. I showed Sheena that. She is a part of the Fred Heads. So it's basically like a Nightmare on Elm Street fan community. So I'm going to have her on soon to talk about that. There's just so many different aspects of like women out there in this culture that we need to definitely tap into that. And and show
Oh
that
yeah.
that they're out there. And I think right here, just having you two here is definitely a showing of that.
It's proof that we're multiplying and starting to take over
Yes.
the space.
Exactly. Growing in numbers. And
That's right.
and one of the things I do want to like point out too is like I see a lot of like women that are content creators and like wrestling and stuff like that, and I see a lot of not negativity, but like the whole stigma of you're not into wrestling unless you watched
Oh,
friggin' Bruno
100%. Yeah.
Sammartino.
Yeah.
and,
Oh yeah.
and
You
it's
have
like,
to have like the entire history catalog
Yeah,
yeah, who
memorized.
was
all
the
of
main
that.
event for
Yeah.
SummerSlam '89?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on, who was the referee that refereed this match in some obscure city in 1974? You're like, I don't even know that stuff. I don't. Okay, so
Yeah,
like,
I'm
it's
telling you, I've been watching wrestling for a very, very long time. And even myself, I'm like, I mean, my husband is like, he has this, eidetic, like encyclopedic memory where he can just remember the most like obscene things. And like, I'm just like, how? Like, you know what I mean?
How
I
are
know
you
I watched
keeping
that
the
event
space in
too, but I
there?
don't even know. Yeah, there's so many other things floating around in there that, the wrestling knowledge, it blows my mind when people can recall all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, so before we get into the Halloween stuff, I actually want to point something out. I seen in Casey's stories that you're singing again. Was that
Oh,
recent or was that
yeah,
old?
yeah.
Oh,
I
so it
mean,
was,
I've been singing at my church for
oh,
like 20 years or so. So I don't
How are
post it
you're not
as
even old
often.
enough to be have been singing 20 years? What the
yeah,
heck?
she's playing
I'm old. Don't worry.
No. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. But yeah,
Wow.
no, I've been singing for a while. I thought you were going to talk about my trip to the Halloween store
I
today and
will. I'm
what I
gonna get
bought.
to that. I'm gonna get to that because
I saw that
you
too. I
did.
was like, what facial hair is she
Yeah, you got it.
buying?
You gave a hint of facial
Yeah.
hair, so I'm like, who could that be? But yeah, no, I seen that. I was like, amazing voice.
Thank
Obviously, you're
you.
playing. So like, I think we talked about it before from the previous episode. I brought it up. But yeah, no, I didn't. I was shocked to see that in your stories. You were
Yeah.
singing. I was like, wow, that's. I was like, she's back at it again. This is great.
Yeah, I sing a lot. I just don't like to put it on my stories too often because I get embarrassed of myself sometimes. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's how I sound." So, but ever so often I'll be like, "You know what? That didn't sound half bad." So,
But we'll say so. Yeah, definitely. Definitely wanted to point that out before you got to it. But yeah, so you were shopping for some new stuff, but I don't. I mean, if you want to give it away, that's fine. But if
oh
not,
yeah.
keep it a secret
Yeah,
or
so
however you want to do it.
our church is actually in an old Sears warehouse. That's where, so it's in like this like industrial looking neighborhood,
Mm.
and a Halloween store opened up like right across the street. And it's just like a
It's
random like warehouse, and it has a bunch of old inventory. So I was like, let's go see it and let's just see if I can find what I'm looking for. And I was able to find it. The man gave me very weird looks because I'm asking like, I need facial hair. Like I need, and he was like, well, we have these mustaches. I was like, no, no, no. I need like
Mm.
full mutton chops. But
Mhm.
I'm actually trying to piece together an Al Snow.
Oh wow. That'll be
Oh,
Because
great.
I am absolutely obsessed with him now because of the Wrestlers
oh,
show
good
from
show.
on Netflix. Oh, it was so good. I mean, and I knew of Al Snow before. Again, I'm a recent wrestling fan, so I'm still learning here and there. So whenever I'm putting together cosplay, that allows me that opportunity to really like research them and learn more
Mm.
about them. So Al Snow had been kind of like on my radar. I watched a few seasons of Tough Enough and I really liked him, but I kind of like it fell to the wayside. But now watching the Wrestler series, I was like, I have to do an Al Snow cosplay like
Oh, that's awesome.
Well,
now.
that's one thing that's so cool about being a newcomer to the wrestling fandom is that you have so much, like, obviously videotapes and all of that have been around. YouTube has been around, but having like, formerly the network, but now Peacock, where you can go and just find everything and all of the like documentaries that Vice does and all of
Yes.
that kind of stuff, just learning, like, it's so, so cool. I mean, the information that you have access to now as a wrestling fan, like even a new coming wrestling fan, like you can learn all of the history,
Yeah.
very easily.
Exactly. Definitely different avenues that you can take. That's always been my like angle when I go into a cosplay is like I want to understand this wrestler. I don't want to just dress up like them. I want to understand why they had this gimmick, why their hair was that color, what props were they using, or what shirts, or sometimes even the shirts that they're wearing. Like I was noticing Al Snow wears like a certain shirt, Job Squad shirt that had a different saying than before, like in different parts of his career. So it's like learning about their career to make sure that the cosplay is as accurate as possible. Because again, I know we mentioned negativity, and as positive as the community is, I do get those ones that come in and, well, actually in 1997, he was wearing.
Oh yeah. I don't even, it's so funny. I will see people like arguing in my comment section with each other. And I'm like, do people think that I go through and like read these? Because I don't. Like if you're being a jerk in my comment section, like I'm turning off the notifications for it. Like
y'all have fun.
Yeah, y'all have fun, beat each other up, and then I'll be on posting on something else.
Exactly. So yeah, that's definitely something I keep in mind. I want accuracy, but it's because I know it's a preemptive move for me.
Oh man, might have to give you a list of matches to watch, like the Kennel from Hell match. You might have to go back in the ECW days of Al Snow. That'd be pretty cool to watch. Yeah, definitely go back and see some of his work. He was especially in the Attitude Era. It's pretty awesome, some of his work there. But yeah, I used to like setting. I like fire starting in comments. So like sometimes Sheena will post something and there'll be like somebody arguing about something, and I'll reply to it just to reply and just be
just
mean,
for fun.
And then just leave, and that's not even. And then just watch my phone and just get a bunch of notifications, like just replies under my reply, and not even read any of them, because I know people are just arguing at either something I said, or I said something that like struck a chord, like positively,
something else.
Yeah, it either triggers something negative or positive, and I have people like fighting for me or against me in the comments. So I haven't done it in a while, but it's really fun to watch sometimes because people go crazy.
It's wild. It is wild how much they will defend their opinion to the death, and I'm like, it's not that serious. It's wrestling. Let's just enjoy it.
People love to dig their heels in, for sure.
Yes.
Oh man. So let's get to some Halloween stuff. So I'm looking at transparency, full transparency, fourth wall breaking. I sent a list to them. It was like a pretty substantial Halloween list of like topics and stuff.
I told the heel husband, Seth, because I just hit Marco up and I was like, so is there like a direction for this? Like, what kind of vibe are we going for? And this is a little, like I said, peek behind the curtain. And then Marco just sends this like list of just like topics, like the most broad topics you've ever seen in your life. And I showed the heel husband and I was like, this is not the most Marco list I've ever seen. It was like 20 things that I was just like,
he's like, well, we're not going to cover it all.
We're not going to cover it all. Yeah. No, I'm just going to pick and choose, what I'm going to talk about from these specific
I'm going to go categories. Scatterbrained. It's organized chaos, as they like to call it. But we'll start with let's go with like traditions. Do either of you have any type of like any Halloween traditions that you do when do you start it like in August? Like my wife, like she started at the end of August, she started putting up all the Halloween stuff, web cloth tables, and decorations in the front of the house, and decorations in the bathrooms, and the like. What is your either one of your traditions look like when it's Halloween time? So we'll start with Casey first with that.
I'm trying to think if we have any traditions, because I mean, I love Halloween. I like dressing up, obviously, but it's never been one of those ones where I go all out. I live in a neighborhood where their trick-or-treating is insane because it is like a little like subdivision, and so during Halloween I'll just stand out there with like a thing and I'm like, here, and I will run out of candy in like 15 minutes. I wish I could put more effort. My husband and I have been talking for past couple of years about how we want to do like a wrestling like decoration outside, and maybe
that would be awesome.
Maybe 2024, maybe 2025 we'll do it. But I think one of the traditions we do is we watch like at least one or two scary movies. I'm not a big scary movie fan, so that's the one time of year I'll be like, okay, let's just choose one.
Yeah.
And we'll watch one. So that's usually that's probably the only tradition we have, is I will allow us to watch a scary movie finally.
That's funny. See, I love Halloween. I mean, I love Christmas. I love any reason to celebrate and get festive and a theme. Like that's just who I am in my core. to your defense, Casey, it is a lot of work to do the outside decorating and
Yes.
the whole nine. Like it takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of money. And so like it's a commitment. So I don't, commend anybody for, not doing it or, condemn anybody for not doing it. But I love to do it. It's funny because I've downsized like ever since having kids, like I said, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of time, organization to get it the way that I like it. Cause I love to decorate usually on my birthday's September 24th. So as far as traditions, like my birthday comes, that's like the green light to just start tearing everything down and turning my house
out.
Yes. Turning my house into a haunted house. I love, previously, like prior to having kids, when I had the energy and the extra time, I would literally like gut the inside of my house, take down all the normal decorations, all the pictures on the wall, all the everything, and just replace it with Halloween decor. I do the whole outside, like
That's so
literally
cool.
like Clark Griswold Halloween style, pink, orange and purple lights and dazzlers and the whole thing, right?
I love it.
Yes. And I love trick-or-treaters. Like we lived on a military base, and military people surprisingly are more festive than like your normies, right? I think it's just because like we're all so far away from home during holidays. Like we really just try to capture that feeling of like the holidays and everything. So everybody, the community, everybody goes all out and decorates, right? So when we lived on base, everybody decorated and we had like tons of trick-or-treaters. And so I always go full-blown costume. We buy crap ton of candy, which by the way, candy has gotten so expensive. I'm just like, you guys, like this is insane. Like,
like good candy is expensive.
The good candy. Yeah. Like, it's like $30, $35 for a bag of like the Hershey's and the, Twix and all the, I'm like, this is nuts, people. Like what the heck?
Yep.
Anyway, that's a whole other topic for a whole nother podcast. But anyway, yeah, handing out gobs of candy. Like, I just love it. We always play music and everything. And we watch a ton of scary movies. Like, that's just one thing that we do during the holidays. We always watch Trick or Treat. That's like, a movie. Like, we switch up what movies we watch, and there's no specific order or anything. But Trick or Treat is always one that we watch every year.
That's
awesome. Yeah, that's I was gonna say the we do have a episode on right now. We're doing the scary movie bracket. Got a little crazy, but I think we did a good job. First, I listened to it back. My wife listened to it as well. But yeah, it was actually really good. And
it's really hard. So scary movies are really subjective. We had to just narrow it down to 32. And we were all just kind of like throwing out our ideas.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, there you could have 32 just from one like subgenre of like horror. So it's like it's really hard to just be like, okay, what are the top 32 and like what criteria are we basing them on? Like, is it a favorite? Is it a, because of its cultural significance? Is it because of the actual movie and its impact? So yeah, it's tough, but I think we did a good job. Don't ask Hawk, but I think we did a good job trying to narrow it down and get some, widely known films in there.
Yeah. Casey, what movies? So you said you one of the traditions you sit down, you watch any scary movies. Is there a specific genre? Is it slasher? Is it paranormal?
Or is it like Halloween theme? Like, is it just like Hocus Pocus and like Halloween Town?
Is it fun? Is it fun Halloween?
You know what I mean? Yeah, no shade to those movies. I love those movies too, but some people are just into that aspect of it.
Exactly. I try to avoid gore. Like anything gory, I can't. I'm real like. That's me with also wrestling as well. I'm not a big fan of like death matches.
The hardcore death match,
yeah. So I usually try to go. I don't mind a ghost, like a
paranormal,
paranormal, or even like Exorcist style. I'm okay with those. I'm trying to think of the last scary movie I watched.
See, that's so funny because to me, like the slashers and the gore and stuff, like that stuff doesn't bother me as much as the paranormal. Like,
it's more realistic.
Yeah, the paranormal like freaks me out, dude. Like, because I mean, there's nowhere to run. Like when you are in a paranormal situation, like essentially, if I can get out of Camp Crystal Lake, I can get away from Jason, right? Like if I can get out of Haydenfield, like I can get away from Michael Myers, right? Like psycho families, like if you don't go down a little road and break your car down and like take a hitchhiking ride, like you're probably going to be okay, right? But paranormal, there is nowhere to run. Like they can get you in your dreams and at your house, in your mind, wherever you are. the freaking spirits and the demons and all the things are coming to get you. Like there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And
And that's why I was like, of all the genres, I'm like subgenres within scary
Yeah.
movies. I'm like, I don't know why I can tolerate those a little bit more than the blood.
Oh
I'm
my
Yeah.
like, "Ugh, his bones showing. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Like bone showing, that's a whole other thing. But like broken bones, like compound fractures, I can't. Like I'm like this. I'm like covering my eyes. Can't do it. Like, you know, if somebody gets their head run over by a tire and their eyeballs splat out, that's fine with me. But like,
But
but a broken bone poking through the skin,
Ugh.
like I can feel my insides like tightening up
Or
now,
even
just
when
like
they make the
talking about it.
sound, like
Yes,
when they the sound of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always know, you can tell by the sound, and like before they even show the compound fracture, like you can tell by the sound and the way the person screams, like that. I'm like, they're about to show a bone. They're about to show a bone.
Oh.
And I just like look away because I cannot take it.
Which
Oh
is
my
crazy because I follow a TikToker who makes, I think it's Foley sounds, right? That's the sounds that they do for like those kind of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was showing how they make the bone sound, and it's like lettuce. that they're
Yeah,
just-
or like they use
they're just,
celery.
like,
That
celery or
makes
lettuce,
so
stuff
much
lettuce.
like that.
sense. Yeah.
That wet sound.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh.
like,
Just like a wet snap. Yeah.
exactly. So she's
I
like,
think-
that's just how it sounds like, or a zombie
Oh my-
eating like
Yeah.
a bunch of crunchy
Oh my
lettuce.
gosh.
I gotta follow
Wow.
that.
The
That's
more you
interesting.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the-
exactly.
Yeah, I was actually I'm not sure. It's probably like in every single horror movie, but I was actually thinking of like because you were talking about bones and stuff like that. Like if like an Achilles
Oh
like
yeah.
tendon gets sliced and they go to walk and it like snaps open, like you can't.
Pet Cemetery, yeah, specifically that. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
seen that movie in probably like 25 years, and that scene with the Achilles still sticks with me, where Gage slices the Achilles of the man. Like that's one of those things you just don't forget. It sears itself into your mind.
So you're fine with like on Saw, the first Saw movie, when he has to escape and he saws his like leg or his foot off. That
I
was fine
mean,
with
I
you?
guess as okay with it as I could possibly be. Yeah, I mean, I was watching it through like, you know, like fingers over my face, like
He's just like screaming.
Yeah.
Just imagine. I can't even imagine that. Ugh, yikes. That's just freaking me out right now. Actually, just thinking of it.
Just talking about it. I was like,
Just talking
nope,
about it, like,
absolutely not.
Just because I'm picturing that scene and he's just like screaming, like no, just trying to do it. So that's kind of. I was going to you, Casey. I was actually thinking about like so watching the paranormal stuff, right? So like the paranormal stuff is too real because if you like, you can like search the internet or like there's like documentaries on like people that have been possessed before. We'll do quotations essentially, but then like found footage movies.
Yep.
Are you good with those ones too? Like
I love
they don't bother
those.
you.
I
Oh,
kind of
those
like
freak
the
me out
found
too.
footage ones. Like that's actually one of my core memories of watching a scary movie was Blair Witch Project with like my whole family when it first came out. I remember us like watching it and sitting in the living room and seeing it and like getting dizzy from it. But I actually really liked that movie and I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a scary movie person, but that one I've actually seen more than once. I just like, I guess the reality of it, even though that should be.
Well, and
the
they
same-
marketed it. We actually talked
Yeah.
about that on the show. The way they marketed it as it was supposed to be a real situation and real found footage and all of this stuff. Like they did, that was like one of the first times that had ever been done. And so, yeah, like I remember watching that. That's a core memory too, just because I was just like, oh my gosh, like what are we about to see here? You know?
Yeah, they did a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
they made it seem so real. They made like a website. They made like they had interviews
Yes.
released slowly,
Yes.
like about the missing teenagers. Like it was very great how they.
It was
marketed
brilliant how they
Yeah.
did it for sure.
Yeah, I watched one. I think it was last Halloween. It was on that Shutter app. I did like the
Oh,
free trial, and they had some movie. I think it was called like the Poughkeepsie tapes or something like that. And I couldn't tell if it was the way they shot it. It was like a documentary. It was actually, it kind of looked like those murder type documentaries where they interview like the FBI agents and and there's like, but this didn't have reenactments. It had like, because they actually had the tapes. They seized the tapes from this gentleman. They were actually like playing parts of the tape, but then they would like intersect it with like a psychiatrist and all that stuff. So I couldn't tell if it was real or not. I was probably getting worked, but it looked legit. And then the videos that they were showing, like the VHS tapes, like the scenes that they were showing, like freaking, they weren't gory or anything. They were just him just like stalking people and like
that mild discomfort.
Yeah.
it was just very
Really-
just kind of like obviously like it gets to the point where like they show like he has like a dungeon and like people are like, there's like,
Oh yeah,
people
anyone
like
who
in
has a
separate
dungeon
parts.
is bad news. Bad news bears. Okay,
there was-
like
yeah,
even
ugh.
basements, I'm a little leery of. You know what I mean? Yeah, and this just goes to show you. I guess I'm in that mind frame because it's that time of year, and we've been watching a ton of scary movies. I went to this like totally unrelated like sustainable living event, a bunch of like hippie crunchy people, like vendors and like basically like a giant like farmers market type situation, right? There was this guy there. He has like alpacas. He brought his alpacas there, and he like hand weaves like their wool fiber into like all of these awesome things, hats, beanies, blankets, rugs, yada yada. And I was talking to him as I do most people, and then he was like, yeah, he's like, on our farm we have this it's called a hippocamp, and he's like, a lot of times it's just travelers coming through, instead of getting an Airbnb, they'll just come through the farm and pop up a tent and all of this stuff. And I was thinking, my knee-jerk reaction was like, that's really cool, like my kids would love that, to go there and they do it like the farm tour and everything, and you just like camp out, because my son's been asking about like camping out and doing a tent and all of that. And then like my hackle feathers kind of like bristled up a little bit, and I was like, this is a perfect scenario for like, come to my farm and pop up a tent. Like, it's totally cool. Lots of people do it. It's usually just travelers going through. Like, I'm like, do people know these people? Like, are people looking for these people? Like, yeah. So I'm
have
thinking,
they
like,
left?
have they left?
After
Yeah. I'm just imagining like, going to this farm in my tent, and then all of a sudden like getting myself into like one of those like crazy cult or like murder situations where it's like a murderous family like waiting to like cannibalize me and my family.
Unsuspecting
Unsuspecting.
alpaca farmer.
I can already see it. Like, it's just like this this big like landscape shot of like the farm and the beautiful alpaca, and the sun starts to go down behind our tent, and then all of a sudden, it's just like murder town. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up, like that whole scenario where you play it out through. I work for the Girl Scouts, and so yesterday we had a solar eclipse event, and we had it at one of our campgrounds that's further out from where I'm from. And we haven't been using that campsite because it's a little dilapidated, but it was good for the one day event.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm walking the grounds and I'm like, this is the perfect like horror film setting. Like, it had the canoes, it had the waterfront, it had the really old rickety infirmary. Like it was like, I was like, oh, you could totally film a horror film on this on this campsite.
100%. Yeah. As you get older, you start to realize, and we kind of talked about like before we jumped on and started recording, we were talking about haunted houses and stuff, and how Casey was like, I don't really like being scared. And before, I used to go to like Halloween horror nights, and we used to go to like haunted houses and stuff like that. As I've gotten older, I've kind of just like, a funny story. Seth and I, this is when I realized like I'm getting too old for this. This haunted house in Hawaii was supposed to be like one of the scariest haunted houses you've ever been to in your life. Like everything about it, all the advertising, all the marketing was like the scariest shit you're ever going to see in your life. Right.
Geez.
So we were like, yeah, we're going to go. This was pre-children. So we get there, and the line and everything, and we're just watching people go in. We're sitting in the parking lot, and we just sit there and observe for a minute. And we both look at each other, and I'm just waiting for him to say something. We both look at each other, and I was like, do you really want to do this? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, well, I don't know. This is kind of like your thing. He's like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah, no. And so we drove off. So we had driven all the way across the island to get to this thing. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I think I'm done being like intentionally scared. And now, like, we talked about, it's so crazy because I think about like, that's the perfect scenario for someone who actually is a freaking psycho to play out some sort of sick, thing, and like actually kill someone in there. And then nobody's there to help. Everybody's just like, oh God, look, it looks so real, and then they're over there like, help.
I was like, I wouldn't mind hosting a haunted house. I was like, let us do that. It'll be a fundraiser. We'll come out to camp. Together.
Do a hayride. Yeah, we'll have some people do some jump scares.
Yeah. And see, we have another campsite called Camp Bayview, and that one's the one that's closer to us. And we actually tried to do a haunted house for our older girls like last year. And I was in one of the cabins. I was like, I'm getting scared just sitting in the cabin in the dark, waiting for them to come in.
Yeah, that's this haunted house that we walked away from it was in like an old warehouse. So it was all inside. Like it was going to be completely dark. It wasn't like it was outdoors where you could actually see anything like up ahead or hear anything. Like it was just, you were literally walking through these like dark corridors, just like waiting to get chainsawed to death.
Don't
actually
touch
watched
me.
I actually watched a movie like that a couple of years ago, and it was these like these people there. It was Halloween night. I think they were like in their 20s, mid 20s or something, and they're like, oh, it's they're out partying and stuff. Oh, and they're walking home, and they see like this like haunted house. There's no line. That should have been their first clue. And they're like, oh, let's go in there. It should be fun. And then obviously they go in. They have to put their cell phones away. There's like a lockbox in the front. Put your cell phones away. They go in. It's a regular haunted house, but then they obviously fun ensues in the house. So there's some dude killing them and all that stuff. And they do the same thing that you said. Oh my god, that looks so real. That because there's other people that make it through.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of those like irrational fears that I have is like because you see that a lot and like it's a pretty common horror trope where it's like there's so many people around but like nobody's there to help or nobody's either nobody's paying attention.
They don't identify
or
that
people
it's real.
Yes, people don't identify that there's actually like something going on and like that's like one of those irrational fears that I have is like I'm gonna be getting like hacked to death over here in the alley and like people are gonna be walking by like
let me film it for the TikTok.
Yes, exactly. Or yes, especially nowadays, like they would just film it instead of actually helping you, like Black Mirror type stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look at this thing I seen at this horror at the haunted house, and someone's actually getting murdered on. That'd be scary.
Oh, 100%. Like throw it back to like what was that? Was it Scream 2 or 3 where was it Jada Pinkett gets killed at the movie theater and everybody just thinks it's like a gimmick and
Oh yeah.
She crawls up on stage and she's like, no, I'm actually dead. You see this? Yeah, you see this? My guts are hanging out.
I know, right?
Okay, I need some help.
Then they get up and start clapping. They're like, yeah.
Yeah. What a brilliant performance.
Performance art.
Oh wow, she's really keeping kayfabe, man.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's some good looking corn syrup they're using. Yeah.
I know. I kind of want to kind of pivot into this because we kind of talked about like as far as like what do you call it, like urban legends and stuff like that. Was that something that was told to you guys when you were younger, like your parents or amongst friends? Did they share that stuff? Because I have a ton of them that my mother used to.
It was definitely amongst friends. I don't remember specifically. I remember like the Bell Witch, and there was like some like super common ones. But that was like a huge thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure like in the late 90s or early 2000s, there was a movie called Urban Legend that was like about all of the crazy urban legends. But I think that was a thing that was like just pre-internet that was, pretty common amongst younger kids. And I think it's so funny to me, like I was growing up in like no man's land, Kentucky, and the same people knew the same urban legends like all over the United States, so it's pretty wild how that stuff kind of travels.
Casey, how about you? Any have you been told any of those?
Well, I'm Hispanic, so we have a lot of urban legends and folklore, especially down here. La Llorona, which is the weeping woman. That's the one. I don't know if y'all, and they made a movie about it in like 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's about a woman. It's a Mexican folklore, and a woman, she finds out that her husband cheated on her, so she goes and drowns her kids in the water. So anywhere that there's a body of water, she's been known to appear wailing for her kids, and like she'll approach you and stuff. So it's very common folklore down here. So that one's one that I've known since I was a kid, and it's terrifying.
They are pretty terrifying. Yeah. There's no one to really like disprove it, because you're always just thinking like, if I go into these woods, am I going to see this?
Exactly. Well, they say it's by a body of water. I was like, there's bodies of water everywhere.
Everywhere.
So it's terrifying. So that's that one. Chupacabra, which is like, it looks like a dog kind of thing. Yeah. And that's goat sucker. So I think the first case was like in the 90s that it came out that someone thought, the chupacabra was coming and sucking all the farm animals on their farm. So that's a common one down here. And then what's the other one? I wrote it down. Lechuza, which is, it's a woman who turns into an owl. So that's a very, very common one in Hispanic, like urban legends and folklore. Like if you see an owl, that's a witch, especially a large owl. So that's a very common one down here. So those three are very embedded in our culture. And so, they're all like, oh, don't let that owl come in, or don't look at the owl.
Yeah, I knew owls had a very like dark like connotation, you know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people associate them with evil because I've always loved owls. Like my
Yeah, me
grandmother was like
too.
really been into owls, and so it kind of just like was like passed down to me to be really into owls. And then I found out that you know a lot of cultures consider them like evil and like you know they're associated with evil, and I'm like, what?
I was like, I love
You know?
owls.
I know,
Yeah.
me too. I mean, they are kind of creepy. They're nocturnal, you know, and they like their heads spin
Yeah.
around and stuff. Like I totally get it.
I've
But
seen a
yeah.
video where they pick them up too, and like owls have surprisingly long legs. Like I'm like, what? I didn't
What?
know
Well, yeah,
owls
well,
had,
because
yeah.
they I
That's
mean, they have to, like, capture their
that's
prey. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how
that's
they, like, you
scary.
know, go down and just, like, scoop them up, you know?
Oh
But,
my
yeah, like, you know,
god.
Bloody Mary, I think, you know, it's
Oh,
kind of
yep.
like, you know, reminiscent of, like, Candyman where you're like, "Bloody Mary, Bloody" I mean, how many times when you
Yeah.
were a kid did you, like, get dared to do Bloody Mary? Like, I don't know.
Never
Yeah.
You
did
did
it.
we did a lot,
Oh,
but
I did. Yeah,
Wasn't
I did
trying
it
it
in
out.
elementary. Yeah.
yes. And then, like, what was, like, the hook man with, like, where you scrape down the car or whatever, like, you hear the
You see the
hook.
line of the hook. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's
My
funny,
yeah.
we watched today, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but
Oh.
it got turned into a movie. It's PG-13.
Yeah, I seen that.
Still
Yeah.
pretty just wild. You know, there's not a lot of gore or anything, but, I remember those books and I loved those books. You know, all my other friends were reading like, you know, Beezus and Ramona or like Babysitter's Club and stuff, and I was reading like Goosebumps and
I
Scary
loved
Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, me
I
too.
read so many of the Goosebumps series. So see, again, I was like terrified of the movies, but I would sit there and read scary stories and
Yeah.
Goosebumps and just like, oh my
There's
gosh.
a new Goosebumps movie coming out. I'm excited to see how they portray everything.
Yeah.
Is it the one on Disney or is that a series? Is it a
No,
movie
there's
or
a new I think it's a movie, right?
I'm not
I
That's
sure.
thought
I
I
coming
saw
thought it
out.
the
was a s
Because
advertisement.
they had
yeah.
the Goosebumps came out with a series. Well, I mean, Goosebumps is I mean, they had their
Mhm.
first early series where
Oh, I
um
love that one.
me too.
Yeah.
That was the
I sh
theme song for Goosebumps in the 90s
yes,
was terrifying.
I showed the kids or Brett, you know, I showed him like the early Goosebumps and he really liked those.
Oh man. The only urban legend that I really remember is my mother used to tell us about she was basically called the Lady in White. So
Ooh.
basically it was like in here in Massachusetts back in the day there was a uh hospital called Danvers State Mental Institution. So it was in Danvers, Massachusetts. It's closed down. It's been closed down forever. But they used to the road before it was called Danvers Road. So you drive the long road. There was like no lights. There was no houses because it's like mental institution. And actually, the movie Session 9 I was telling you guys about is about it. They actually filmed it there at
Oh,
that before
wow.
they tore it all down. So like that was back in the day when they were doing mental institutions. If you read about it, they were doing a lot of shock therapy and crazy
Mhm.
things and stuff like that back then. So
Experimental.
Oh yeah.
that
American
mental
Horror Stories
institution,
type stuff.
Mhm.
yeah, literally, like that's a lot of the stories come from that mental institution in
Wow.
Danvers, Massachusetts. And the funny thing is too is Arkham Asylum, where Batman locks up all the bad guys. It's after if you go research, it's actually built after the Danvers State Mental Hospital. That's where they got the
Wow.
idea from the Arkham Asylum. But she used to tell us that there was like this lady I think it was like every Halloween. If you were driving down that road, she'd appear, and obviously she tried to draw you near her. Like if you're driving down the road, you'll see her appear at the end of the road. Don't go near her, just back up and keep on going because she's gonna kill you essentially. So that used to freak the hell out of me because that road didn't have really any streetlights. It was like very sparingly that whole road. So if you were driving on that road, I still to this day can't really drive at night where it's very woodsy.
Yeah.
I think just someone's gonna run out in front,
Gonna
run out in
waltz
front
out
of me.
there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
yeah, fun fact, you know, once you become a parent, you like I don't drive at like dark a lot anymore. I don't know. Like I'm always just here, you know, it's dinner time, bedtime, you know what I mean? I don't like drive at night a lot anymore. And now when I do, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it is so dark out here." And so like in next week or this coming week, I'm going to have to drive. I'm driving through the night to take the kids to Kentucky, and I'm just like thinking like, what all do I need to pack to make sure that I'm safe in case I break down? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, it's pretty freaking wild. So oh, real quick, circling back, Goosebumps, it is a series. For some reason, I was under the impression that it was a movie, but it's a series. And there's an actor in it whose name is Zach Morris. Like, who would
oh,
name their kid Zach Morris?
definitely a Saved by the Bell fan.
Yeah, I was a fan, big fan.
It had to be a big fan. I mean, like, like if you're, I know a lot of people with the last name Morris, totally fine, but like Zach Morris, you of all the names, you chose Zach Morris. He was born in 1998, so that totally
that tracks.
That tracks dead on. Yeah. So
wow. But yeah, that's why I was like, I know I saw a trailer, but I wasn't sure if it was.
Yeah, it's on Disney and Hulu. But yeah, I'm stoked for that.
Yeah, it should be good.
That should be. Isn't I think, what do you call it? The dude from Barbarians in it. Is Justin
Long
in that?
Yeah.
Let's. He's from Jeepers Creepers. Okay.
Yeah, from Jeepers Creepers.
Let's give Justin Long his due. Okay.
Yeah,
and I liked him in the movie Accepted. I think Justin Long.
Yes, Justin Long has done a lot of things.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of things that aren't horror too. But yeah, his film history is pretty crazy. Alvin and the Chipmunks. He's been in Alvin.
Yeah, he never says no to an opportunity. Obviously,
I don't blame him. Get that bag, baby.
Yeah,
exactly. Get that bag. That's what I think about. Everybody always shits on The Rock for doing all those. Like, I'm like, dude, do you know how much they're paying him? Do you think The Rock gives a crap what, you know what I mean? What anybody thinks about any of these movies he's doing? No. He cares about getting that bag.
Exactly.
If you're a wrestling fan, you definitely know that in order to become successful, just watching wrestling, you definitely know that the people that are successful now, when they started, they were doing the shitty gimmicks before they really became who they are today. So that's why The Rock, he did all those Disney movies and all that stuff. It's because that eventually he was going to become arguably the biggest Hollywood star there is.
Exactly.
Today, so
and it's not because he's like an amazing actor. Like, let's be real. No. He's not like, an Academy Award winning actor. Yeah. He won the hearts of the people. He's the people's champion. He's the people's actor, So
I think a fun watch. Exactly.
He's a fun watch. Yeah. And he's not bad on the eyes. Right. I mean,
isn't it that
literally like 300 pounds of solid muscle.
Isn't it weird that like, as a wrestling fan, you see that and like, people that didn't, they're obviously, this is kind of crazy to think that there are people that didn't know that he was a wrestler before.
Well, I think it's even more weird that people call him The Rock and they don't know that he's a wrestler. You think this man just like gave his name? He's just The Rock, like that.
Yeah.
Whose name is The Rock?
But the thing is, we seen that early as wrestler. We knew he was charismatic and he could captivate a crowd. So I feel kind of like proud that I was on it. We were on it early, essentially, wrestling fans. We knew he was going to be the biggest star in the world. You don't have to tell us. We were just like, nah.
Yeah,
he's going to be a billionaire at some point, and do a bunch of Fast and Furious movies. Actually, no, he did. Actually, he came back to the recent one, but I want to skip
Flex
to
Havana, the whole Rocky Maivia.
Oh yeah, Flex Havana, Rocky Maivia. Got booed out of the building when he was transitioning over to The Rock at that point, but
he got booed out of the building. What was it, 2014 or 15 with Roman, when Roman won the Royal Rumble? Yeah. He also got booed out of the building that night too. So
people are not, even The Rock's power could not, sweep over to Roman Reigns at that point. People were just hating Roman Reigns, but we'll probably see him in movies soon. I'm assuming anyway, Roman. But I want to skip to since we're talking about haunted stuff. So haunted locations. Are you guys familiar with any in your area? Have you visited any? Have you seen any scary houses?
No. So like I said,
do you know anybody that did?
So paranormal stuff. Can't remember if we were recording this or if this was like pre-show banter, but paranormal stuff. Like I'm good with the gore. I'm good with the slashers, all of that. Paranormal stuff is like where it like really starts to stick with me. I like paranormal, like scary movies and stuff. I don't with real demons. You know what I mean? Like
we're not gonna play.
Yes, I'm not gonna play. If there's a place that's known to have paranormal activity or people haunted houses, real I'm not going there. Not going there. I'm not even messing with it. I'm not doing a Ouija board. I ain't trying to even conjure no bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm even leery of taking shit from the Goodwill because I'm like, what? I'm like,
this bad juju is on this.
What bad juju? What did this item see before it came to my house? You know what I mean? So yes, as brave as I am for most things and as open as I am to films and just the holiday spirit in general, I'm not messing with no real freaking spirits, and I ain't trying to like I said, conjure no bullshit up in my house.
I respect that. I do.
Yes.
I know my family makes fun of me because I've always had this theory like that any house that has more than 2 stories is like 50% more chance of it being haunted. Like I was like, if
Oh,
you have a
100%.
two-story house,
The higher the house goes, I mean, like, there's definitely some spirits in that 3rd level. You know what I mean?
there's more space for haunting. I was
Oh,
like, if you have
100%.
one
Yeah.
level, there's not enough space for ghosts. I was
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
you start going up
Exactly.
with stairs, you're messing with ghosts. So that's always been
Exactly.
my theory.
Mhm.
But
You're getting to the spiritual plane. The higher you
exactly.
Yeah.
go, you're messing with the spiritual plane.
But we got very lucky when we found this house, because the former owner was a nun. So she had crosses on like
She
every single
Yeah.
door. So I was like, this house is not
Oh,
haunted.
yeah.
It is
Spiritually
clearly
sane.
blessed
Yeah.
by the sister. But there are some haunted places around here again in the valley where I'm right on the border of Texas and Mexico. So
Ooh.
there's a college in Brownsville, and it used to be UTB, UT Brownsville, but now it's or UTRGV. So it's the whole valley. But it used to have areas that were a fort, like because it was right on the border, and I think it was Fort Brown. It
Mm.
used to be Fort Brown. So there are actually parts on campus that are like historical landmarks. And Fort Brown was like the very first established military base in Texas. So right when they separated and Texas became Texas and part of the US, that was an actual fort, and there was a battle during the Mexican-American War. And so there's actually a lot of ghost sightings on that campus, like a lot of ghost sightings,
Oh my
which is
Yeah,
god.
terrifying.
it's funny because, when we lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia,
Oh,
I mean, it
geez.
was it's surrounded by like battlefields, right? So there's like so many battlefields, and like yes, there's a different energy there. And so
Mhm.
I lived for I mean, so we lived off of Fort Island for 1 year, and then for over 5 years we lived on Fort Island, which if you're familiar with Oahu, I could literally see the Pearl Harbor Memorial from like my backyard. So
Wow.
like that, like my backyard is where the Pearl Harbor attack took place.
Dang.
And it is like there's an energy there. It's not a bad
Mhm.
energy, but you can definitely tell there's just like
It's not settled.
it's
Yeah.
unsettled.
Yeah.
Yes, it is absolutely unsettled. And it's just like I said, it doesn't feel sinister or anything like that, but it feels like sacred or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it is very just tangible when you're there. Especially when you just start to like think about it and everything. So yeah, I've been places like that. Again, I don't mess with that stuff. I respect all those that have deceased, and like you know what I mean. I'm
We're
not
not gonna
gonna
talk, we're not gonna chit chat.
no, I'm not even gonna pretend to like even acknowledge that you're there. Like I respect you. Mm-mm. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's weird because, I mean, the whole thing is like, energy can't be created or destroyed. I guess it depends on, what your beliefs are and that sort of thing. But like,
Mhm.
I feel like that energy, your soul is like an energy and it has to go somewhere. Right. Like, and I feel like there are definitely people that don't cross over to the other side. Like there's something that just keeps them
Keeps them
here
there.
in this plane. Yeah. There's like, I don't like believe in ghosts in the way that like you white sheets and like, ooh, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But I definitely know I definitely believe in like spiritual energy and like,
Mm.
being able to feel that sort of stuff. Cause I mean, everything on our earth, not to get too hippy dippy, crunchy mama on you, but like everything has energy, right? And so like that,
Yeah.
there's always just like this just transitioning of energy from one thing to the next, to the
Mm.
next, to the next. So yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff too.
Wow. Well, thanks for making it uneasy over here because I'm
Yeah,
not
you're like
not
looking
not any. Well,
around now.
obviously obviously in Massachusetts, it's a birth of pretty much of the nation, and
Mhm.
my house that I'm living in now was built in 1780.
Your house that you live in now was built in
Yeah,
1780.
That is a
yeah,
haunted
Wow.
house. There are
Your
yes,
walls
spirits
have
in
Se-
seen some shit.
1780.
Your
So,
walls, yeah.
oh,
There has been some evil that has taken place
history.
on that
trust me,
property. Yes. Not
trust me. When I'm
necessarily
down,
not, it may not the drywall that you have right now may not have seen no evil, but that soil that you're on right now has
oh yeah,
seen some
definitely.
shit. It
Oh
has
yeah, no,
seen
there's
some
like
shit.
so like the basement is it's all obviously all stone because that's how they built basements back then.
Mhm.
I mean the people before it like updated the whole house and everything, but like the actual foundation.
I would
They didn't
hope
do anything.
too, since from 1780. I hope it's a little updated.
Yeah, they didn't do the attic though. That's the only thing they did not touch. They didn't redo the attic.
Nope.
So we go up in the attic. There's like it's
Don't be
pretty much
pulling
the
no
size
floorboards up. Don't be moving
yeah,
no insulation.
floorboards,
Yeah,
nothing. So like they
Mm-mm.
let it's like pretty much the size of the house. And then there's like it's like one, it's actually 2 rooms. There's one main room. You walk up the stairs. It's a walk up one. There's no ladder. So you walk up the stairs and you have like a big area. And then off to the side, there's like a wall and a door with like another room, it has like
hell
this
no.
like
Nope.
angled ceiling. On the floor, there's 4 doors. They're like
No.
hatches or latch. They have latches
Like
on
secret
them.
doors, secret doors with
yeah,
hatches and latches. That's
yeah.
a no go. That's a no for me.
I've
dog.
not. Every
That's a
time I
no.
go up there,
Oh my God.
That's
You just
a
like
no
throw
from
things
me.
up there and you're like, you know what?
Yes.
well, every time I go
Yes.
up there, I'm like, should I open one? And then like, I don't know if I want to. If I open it, do I release? Is something
Oh
gonna
my
escape? Some type of like.
No, you're gonna find some sort of dusty book or box in there that you're gonna
Could
open.
be treasure. There could be
Yeah.
treasure.
There is a creepy
Pots.
statue that they that was
no.
left in the basement. It's like some like looks like an angel, like kind of like
No.
leaning like this, and it's
No.
like all rusted and old over in the corner of the basement. And
That would have
But
gone
yeah,
in the
so-
trash as soon
That's-
as it's like,
Yeah.
and you're gone.
Yep.
I didn't notice it until we had a gas leak. So we had like
Yeah, you know why you had a gas leak? Because there's ghosts. They cut
That
your
little
gas
yeah,
leak.
angel
that-
touched it.
Yes.
probably
Little
yeah.
angel statue.
Came alive at night and like messed with the pipes. But yeah,
Oh.
so like we go down there and the plumber's like showing us like, here's where we found the leak. But we only have one gas line and that's the oven. So like nothing else in the house is gas. So thankful for that. But like, so we just use the air fryer a lot. With that, it was down for like 2 or 3 weeks. We just
We're
air
not
fried
messing with these
everything pretty
ghosts. We're
much.
air frying everything.
Yeah,
Bitch,
So
bitch,
they-
we are not messing with them nuggets. We're not eating no haunted nuggets.
Haunted
We're-
nuggets.
We
Like
are
this
just
good.
going to air fry them bitches.
yeah. But no, so we went down there and he's like showing us everything, and like over in the corner, like hidden away, I see that like the statue. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And it's like some like I said, it's really rusty and old. If it's worth anything, I'll sell it if someone wants to take it. But
Take it on
now that
Antique
it's probably
Roadshow.
haunted, it's probably a haunted thing, so we're probably not going to give it away. But yeah, so yeah, my house is very old, and now I'm going to be scared all night tonight.
Sleep with the
just
lights
sitting
on.
up. And here's
Real talk. So I'm a 38-year-old woman. Okay, let me just say this. Last night I watched Hereditary for the first time, and I slept with the light on in the bathroom because like I have to be able to see the corners of my room. I don't want no shadowy figure. Like I'm not gonna wake up in the middle of the night. Like I said, I wake up several times because my kids come down and get bed with me, and like we just moving and adjusting. When I move, like I'm not trying to see just like weird shadow figure. Like I want to
Yep.
know what the fucking corner of the room looks like because
Yeah.
I slept with the freaking lights on. And it's funny because Casey and I were talking before we jumped on here, she's like, I get in bed early because I go to the gym at 4 a.m. So I'm normally in bed by 9, yada yada. Same. I'm an early to bed, early to rise type of person. Last night after watching that, I don't know if it was just my adrenaline or what, but I could not go to sleep.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like scared, but I was just like up and like fully alert and fully awake. And I was up till like 1 a.m. Yes. And Seth was like, what are you still doing up? And I was
Oh
like,
my
dude, I don't know. I was like, I just cannot. Like, I'm not tired right now. Something is just like popped in me where I'm
it's
I'm
worse
ready.
when you do fall asleep, but then you wake up and it's like 3 a.m. You wake up like at the witching hour and you're like, no.
Dude,
Oh yeah,
That-
that's
that's
the worst.
another horror movie trope that absolutely like scares me to death. It's like when you're home alone and like the people like fall asleep like 5 o'clock in the day, like they get home from work and they'll fall asleep and they wake up and it's nighttime outside and like
Nope.
they're alone in the house and they just wake up into this like empty house, but it's like dark and it was light when they went to sleep. Like
Mhm.
something about that just scares me to death. Like
Don't
I
like it.
cannot. Yes, it makes me highly uncomfortable.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's something with like it's something when you watch something. It definitely if it's something really I'm not sure what it is. It could be subconscious. It could be maybe in your other life if you want to go with that route. But like if you're watching something and it really strikes you like something scary, and then when you turn the movie off and you're like now you're very uneasy about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it just subconsciously maybe like something happened to you in the past life that you interacted with something. That's how I always, because I don't really get scared at like movies, but like there'll be some movies that'll just really just like paranormal movies or like the VHS series that we talked about before.
Yeah.
Like some of those stories that they have within those, what they just like creep me out for some reason. I'm like you, I can't get to bed. I'm just
They
like,
stick with you
I just
more.
lay awake like eyes. And that actually, here's
Yeah.
another fun fact: that attic is in our main bedroom. The door to our
Oh
attic
no.
is our master
No.
bedroom. So you have
Absolutely
to
not.
Just seal it up.
so,
Just
so I like
seal it up.
in
Put some
my side of
drywall. Put some putty over the seams and just seal
How
it
long
up.
have you been living in this house? Like,
Like a
it'll be
year.
3 years, I think. 4 years
No,
next
you
year.
just
So.
moved, Marco. Didn't you just move like
Yeah.
a last year?
No, it was 2021 we moved.
well,
Yeah,
if
so
nothing has
3
happened
years.
in three years,
Yeah, no, we're
then
fine.
maybe
But
you're fine. But
it's just waking up in
I
the middle of the
don't
night and looking at the door. That's what creeps me out because my side of the bed is near that. I sleep near the door, like the
I don't blame
actual
Kim. I'd put your
attic
ass
door.
near that too. I'd be like,
Yeah,
nope.
you sleep on that side.
and I
Take
always
him
think
first.
I think there's a squatter up there. Sometimes I'll go up there and see if someone's living up there, or I
Yeah.
get creeped out. But anyway, we'll move on because now I'm getting creeped out. I'm gonna be scared. Not gonna be able to go to bed. Let's move on to the like the fun part of Halloween, like the costumes and stuff like that. So that's why I brought Casey on, and obviously Sheena, you can jump in there. But what was your favorite costume growing up?
Growing up, oh man. Well, this is really weird. So I was actually Ghostface before Ghostface became a thing.
Really?
It wasn't the exact like mouth Ghostface, like it didn't have like the droopy mouth, but it was an open mouth mask, white skull mask like that, just the same style of mask, and like the cloak and the cape and everything. And I was that. I think it was. I want to say that was like 95. What year did Scream come out? 97.
96 or
Yeah, that sounds-
97.
Let me see, Scream. But yeah, I remember because I was like, when that movie came out, I was like, holy shit, that's what I was for Halloween a couple years ago.
Maybe Wes Craven seen you somewhere and was like, that's a
I
good
hope
idea.
so. Yeah, that would have made my life. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
he drew in
96. So it came out in
Oh, there you
96. So
go.
yeah, so it was like really like I guess that maybe that was just like a popular like costume back then, like that was like the thing. But yeah, I remember when Ghostface actually became Ghostface, and I was like, yeah, I was that for Halloween last year. That's freaking
Nice.
wild. Yeah.
That's so cool. I think my favorite Halloween costume, my mom is actually she's very good at sewing. She always helps me when I need anything stitched up. I just know how to hand stitch, but growing up, she used to make a lot of our costumes, and one of my favorite costumes was my Belle costume, my Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aw.
She had made it for my birthday that year, and so I just wore it for Halloween. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I pretty much
Because
lived
back in the
that
90s, that's just what we did.
Yeah,
That's just how
exactly.
we
You
that's
just
just how we
lived in it.
rolled. Yeah.
Yeah.
She made it from a little pattern, a little McCall's pattern, and it had the roses and the little sleeves. I loved that dress. That was one of my favorites.
Wow.
And
That
then,
is so cool.
yeah. So I'm very appreciative of my mom taking the time because she was like, well, we weren't very rich. And she was like, I couldn't afford to buy costumes for everybody, for my siblings and I. So she was like, I just tried to make it as best as I could. And so the sentimental behind it too is
100%.
that.
Man.
But
Yeah,
that was
that,
definitely one of my favorites.
That sewing is one of those old-fashioned skills that I learned. We had, a sewing class in high school that I took, but I did okay, and then, I just never fully grasped it or processed it. After that class, I was like, okay, that's done. And now I'm
And
like
I'm done.
so regretful because like sewing is such an important
Yeah.
skill to have. Like, just learning how to, I mean, not even like to make full costumes, but just to know how to like mend and repair. So the fact that your mother had that and she passed that down to you and is helping you, like that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
I was gonna
I
say,
know,
is that
I
where
wish I
that
could use it.
Yeah.
A
is that where that
machine.
comes from?
Yes.
Is that where you like you get your like the doing the cosplay and stuff like that?
Well,
Is that where that
came from? Yeah, my brother was actually like my mom taught my brother and me really to sew. My
okay.
sister never really dabbled in it. I don't know how to use a sewing machine, but my brother learned how to use a sewing machine. And so he got into cosplays first. And
okay.
he invited me to a local con, and then that's what got me excited about like cosplay.
So do you hand stitch everything you make?
Yeah, right now. There are
Wow.
some things where I've had my mom help me,
Yeah.
like my Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, she helped me make the tail part, but
Yeah.
the wings I hand stitched, and
Oh
Wow.
my
my
gosh,
Kane
wow.
costume, that was all
Yeah.
hand stitched. So
Oh my gosh,
it's a
that's
pain in the
nuts.
butt.
I know, that makes me even more like a fangirl. I'm like, the fact that she sits down and hand stitches this stuff is like, my mind is just blown. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
It's a
Jeez.
lot. So, but
Holy
when it's a
smokes.
bigger piece, I will go to my mom and be like, "Help me," because I
Yeah.
cannot hand stitch this.
Oh
But,
my, well, learn. Have her
yeah, I
teach
need
you. Oh my
to.
gosh, take the time because you will regret it. You will regret if you don't do it because my grandmother was like, I mean, she could sew anything. I mean, she
Mhm.
made all of their like curtains growing up, all the kids' clothes, like all the things. And I never took time to learn. And I'm like, now she's not here. I'm like, why? So like,
No.
oh yeah, such a useful skill.
Exactly. So she's
Man.
taught me here and there, but I'm definitely not at I think also because I don't wanna buy a sewing machine because I don't know how to sew
Yeah.
quite yet. So we're using her sewing machine, and her sewing machine isn't the best.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it'll catch a lot and stuff.
Oh yeah, but she's
So
probably used it so much. She knows.
oh,
She's
yeah.
Yeah.
she's got like all
She's
the
like, "You gotta
quirks.
work it like this and
She's
hit
got all
it."
the
She's like,
quirks figured out. Knock it 3 times. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I definitely wanna spend some more time learning because I know how to do some general stitching and stuff, but it would be great to just be like, "Oh, let me look at this pattern
I
and let me do it
know. Oh
really
my god, I
quickly."
don't even know what the possibilities for you would be if you could like, use a sewing machine to make all of your
Yeah.
costumes. You would be like,
man.
oh my
I
god.
would be unstoppable.
You would
Yeah,
be
you just be
unstoppable. They're
making
like
you
the
just be
limit does
making
not exist.
Exactly, it's too much power for me right now.
Too much
I
power.
still work
Oh
a
my
9 to 5. I
With great
can't.
power comes great responsibility. Yeah.
Exactly.
People be hitting you up for like custom gear, like, "Hey, can you do this for me? This is
Some
awesome."
people will
That's
ask me sometimes, "Do you make gear?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. Do
that's
not."
Uh,
true.
d- oh man, I actually I didn't even think of that. Like wrestlers and stuff might reach out to me, and be like, "Hey, could you do this for me? Could you do this?"
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
I'm like,
insane,
"Oh,
dude.
I'm
Oh my god.
sorry." And
Yeah.
I've never been one to like doing commissions because I think it puts a lot of pressure on something that I do
You
right now as a
enjoy.
hobby and I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think the minute you start putting a price tag on it and you start realizing that this is for somebody else,
Yes.
that expectation raises, and so I get really
Yeah,
hard on myself. So I'm like, no, no, I'll just do it for
Yes.
fun. It's all for
No.
fun.
I
yeah.
100% feel you.
Wow, geez. I didn't even think of that. That's insane. As far so I mean, obviously, Casey, you do kind of like Halloween all year long with your cosplays. Do you do anything specific for Halloween? Do you like to dress up for Halloween? Is it one of those things where
That's
like I
yeah,
do it
that's
all year long? I don't even deal with the Halloween.
well, like I was saying
I
about my
skip
neighborhood being really busy, like last year, I was in like shorts and slides, and I was just out there with a bucket, just passing. And Earl's like, "You're not even gonna put anything on." I was like, "Mm-mm, absolutely
Oh
not. It
man.
is a Monday." Well, and that's another thing. Halloween's on Tuesday this year. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how much fun is that? Like, if I
Yeah,
had
it's
more time, I
lame.
would definitely put something
But I mean, you
together.
have so many amazing costumes that you
Yeah,
already
just throw
have
something on.
made. Like you've spent
No.
the time already. You've put the freaking investment in on the front end, you
Oh,
know?
that's there's a classic meme where it's a cosplayer in a closet full of costumes. They're going, "I have nothing to wear for Halloween. I
Yes.
don't know."
Yes.
That's
A
me
Do
hundred
the
percent.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
do the Paul Bearer and Undertaker thing
Undertaker.
that you did. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Those pictures are awesome there. That or
yeah.
do
Rhea
Kane.
Ripley, Raven. Not that anybody would know who Raven is, but that
Raven was
costume was
Right.
awesome.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
true. I was like, maybe I'll put something on. I don't know. We'll see." Again, it's on a Tuesday. I get out of work at 5. I'm like, "Ugh."
Hey, listen, the rock costume, that's super easy. Put your bodysuit on, get your fanny
Yeah,
pack,
"Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
get
the
your gold
turtleneck?
chain. Yeah,
Easy peasy." That's
you
true.
could
Maybe
totally
I'll
do
do that
that.
one, and I'll
You
go
could do
buy that
Kane.
$35 bag of candy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just have the
do
one. The one
One
bag.
$35 bag of candy. Like first come, first serve, then I'm turning off the porch light, people.
Exactly.
yeah. You don't have to do makeup or anything like that. Just do like do Kane. Just throw the Kane mask on and some sweats or something like that. You don't have to
Yeah,
talk to any of the kids. Just
I have a skeleton kigurumi that I wear every year now since I've had kids, like, because I
Nice.
used to go all out and like, source stuff. And for me, I was the queen of hot glue. Like if I could hot glue it on
Yes.
something and hot glue it together, and like I could make my costume that way. I could like put a few like hand stitches in, but I wouldn't sew in no shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
you're
was-
like, if it's not sticking on with hot glue, it's not.
yeah, I'm
it's not
hitting
on
the thrift
costume.
stores. I'm finding the pieces that I need. I'm hitting Etsy and finding the pieces that I need.
Yes.
And hot gluing all that stuff together. But yeah, now I just wear the skeleton kigurumi, which is like basically like a big onesie jumpsuit that I wear every year, whether it's like 100 degrees or 40 degrees. So
Sweating under
man.
here.
yes, sweating like a mofo under there. Yeah.
I want to let's ask this then. So we'll start with Sheena. So because you've done a few costumes and stuff like that. What is your favorite one that you did? Because I know you did obviously like Mankind.
I loved my Mankind costume. That was
Yep.
probably my favorite because that was like my first real like DIY costume. And I made that mask, which was like one of my crowning achievements. And let me just tell you how just like primitive that mask was. I literally cut out the cardboard, like stock poster board. What do you call it? It's thicker than poster board, but it's not cardboard, like whatever that in between board is.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it right now. But anyway, cut that out like the shape of the mask, and then I covered it in like a leather material, hot glued it, of course, hot glued all those pieces together and made that mask. I was so stoked. Sourced those freaking brown tights and the boots from the thrift store. And obviously the shirt and tie. Loved that costume. My Moolah costume, I was a little more impressed by, just because I found the exact jacket. I found it on eBay. It was super cheap. It was like the like sequin for sequin match for a jacket that she wore. Yeah. Obviously Moolah is a controversial character, like you said. Like when you post about it, people are like, oh God, I can't believe you're glorifying such a horrible person. And at the end of the day, I'm like, she did what she had to do in a time when she had to do it. Like, yes, if it was 2023 and there was a Moolah here, like, yes, I would condemn the shit out of her. What she did, I'm not saying what she did was right, but I'm also like, I'm not going to condemn a woman for having to work in a man's world and doing what had
breaking
to be done
into that industry.
for having to do what she had to do, right? Like it's horrible. I'm not, but the costume was great.
Yeah,
the costume was
cool.
The costume was so good. So yeah, and
Don't
I
forget
made my own title belts out of like cardboard and printer paper and hot glue.
There was the Andre the Giant too, as well.
That was so good. Yeah, the Andre the Giant. My son, it was his first, his second Halloween, and I dressed him up as Hulk Hogan, and I was Andre. We were straight up like WrestleMania 3, Andre and Hulk. Yeah, it was so perfect. It was the cutest thing ever. And now my kids actually have opinions on what they want to be for Halloween, and it's like it's a little bit soul crushing because I'm like, I want you to be this,
We could be trios, champ.
Yes, we could be like a family costume. My daughter's like, I want to be Elsa. My son's like, I want to be a zombie. I'm like, you guys are lame.
Yeah, man.
You guys are the worst.
Typical,
yes.
Typical.
How typical. You want to be Elsa? Oh,
yeah.
How original. How original, you 3-year-old. How dare you? How dare you?
I could definitely get my son to be like Roman Reigns for Halloween, but I'm trying to get the girls to be the Usos. And they will not.
That would be awesome.
They will not go for it. I don't want to be the Usos. I want to be a kid.
You need to at least at least do it and get a picture. Like maybe they don't have to do it on Halloween, but yeah, your son needs to be Roman, and then they need to be the Usos.
I ask every day. They're born on the same. They had the same birthday as the Usos.
Wow!
Yeah, they were born
I didn't know they had the same birthday as the Usos. No freaking way.
So one day, I'm like scrolling on IG. I was gonna do like the birthday post or whatever. So I'm scrolling, and Rikishi goes, "Oh, happy birthday to my sons, the Usos." I was like, holy shit. I was like, my daughters are born on the same day as the Usos.
Man, maybe that's like there's like a twin moon that day or something.
And I was like, you guys have to be. And they're like, no, we don't want to be. And they're going to be one of them's going to be Princess Peach. And the other,
course.
It's not Princess Peach. It's another princess in the Mario world or whatever.
Daisy.
Daisy, maybe. What I don't even know. I tried. I ask them every day. I'm like, can you guys just be the Usos so we
at least do it and get a picture, and then they can be princess. They can be princesses for trick or treating.
Exactly.
I'm like, we'll do beards. We'll do the whole thing. We'll just come on. They were the Bellas when they were babies. We had them be the Bellas when they were like newborns, and then our son was Daniel Bryan. He had like the little muscle suit. I think it was pretty funny. But yeah, so Casey, favorite what's actually what for as far as like your cosplay and your things that have you done? What is your
Yeah,
I'm not sure
cosplay.
if I asked you this the last time, but
You did, but I mean, obviously, I've made more since
oh yeah,
then.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was
That was
one of
actually
my
pretty
favorite ones, and
It's pretty
I feel
epic.
bad because now it's just sitting in my closet. Like I wore it for that one event that I did, and that one took me so long. It was like 13 yards of fabric, like 13 yards
Jeez.
worth of boning, like just trying to
I'm
figure
watching the
out.
little videos and like looking at the pictures of it now. Like
Yeah, it was.
it's so good.
I got it to flap open, like the whole thing. Like that was one of my proudest accomplishments because there was stuff that I had not worked with before. Like I'd never worked with boning before, and I had never figured out a wingspan. Like
Yeah, I mean the
Wow.
boning and the wings and everything is
yeah,
just awesome,
like
dude.
fun fact, like I have a 6-foot wingspan, so those are like 6
You're
foot wings.
basically Michael Jordan. No.
Exactly. So I was like, I have a huge wingspan, so trying to figure out like, oh, okay, how am I going to get this to actually function and not be something that like limits me in my movement? So that was one of my favorite ones to do. And then obviously Rhea Ripley has been just
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
that
of
was an
You're
awesome
you're a
one too.
perfect Rhea Ripley.
thank you.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
I love her so much. So anytime I can pay tribute to her, is always a good time. And that one got a really good response. So those have been two of my favorites recently.
yeah,
Oh
very
man.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's just you can just sit there and like just scroll and be like, how the heck? This
I
is
know. I've
insane.
already seen all of these and I'm going back right now looking
And
at
just
them. I'm like,
yeah, and what makes it a difference is when you actually like get to like speak to her and like see the like learn about the process and what she did and stuff like that, and then you go back and look at it, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. How the
yeah.
hell did she
Well,
do
and I
it?
beat myself up all the time. Like this year, I was like, man, I really didn't get to make a lot of costumes this year. Like work has just been really crazy and all that stuff. But then I'll scroll through my stuff. I'll be the first to admit I'll scroll through and be like, you know what? I have done a lot. Like I did a
Yeah.
lot those first 2 years of the pandemic because there was
Do you know how
nothing
many
else to
people
do.
made 0 costumes this year, Casey?
Exactly. Yeah.
Millions. Millions and millions. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh
you
my
always
God.
have to talk yourself down. Be like, I'm doing fine. It's like it's fine, and I'm doing it for
Yeah.
fun again. Like I never want this to be something that I dread or I feel like I'm doing it for other people.
I
Like
know. I think
I
that's
do
what
it
I
for
love the
myself.
most is that you actually take the time and the energy and the effort and the money to like do this and it's just for like fun and
It's just for
creativity
fun.
and artistic expression. Like it's just really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely. Did you? So as far as for Halloween, right? Itself as a holiday, where do you rank it among? No, maybe not rank it. Yeah, we'll say rank it. Where do you rank it amongst like the other
Versus
holidays
the other
throughout the
holidays.
year?
Oh,
You could be biased. You could say, "Hey, Halloween's my favorite. It's definitely number one." Like, where do you see it? Like in the
in the
category?
holidays.
Obviously, nowadays it's only pretty much it's Halloween, Christmas. There's no Thanksgiving anymore, so you can. It's
I
pretty much
beg to
Halloween versus
differ.
Christmas.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love every food item that comes along with Thanksgiving. I also just like the overall mood of it, like getting to hang out with my family. It's not that I don't hang out with my family a lot, but there's something different about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
Do
just
you do traditional like turkey, like Thanksgiving dinner, like, just
oh
the traditional,
yeah, we do it a little.
stuffing and
Yeah, we do it a little different. We actually do Thanksgiving lunch, so
oh
we
that
can eat
Okay.
eat it
well,
again for
yeah.
dinner.
That's what
Yeah.
we do too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because you want to eat it for you
exactly. 2
Yeah.
meals.
The
You gotta get 2
leftovers.
meals
smart.
out of it.
Yeah, we eat it
Um,
early in the day. Yeah, we're not nighttime Thanksgiving people.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
but
it definitely
my
doesn't work.
husband's family, that was always something that was really easy for us to plan out. Christmas was always hard because both families celebrated on Christmas
Mhm.
Eve, but Thanksgiving, his family did it a little differently. So we've always been able to do Thanksgiving with my family, and then on the weekend we do another Thanksgiving with his family.
That's good.
And yeah, so that's been good. But I mean, like it's just a lot of eating
Oh
that
yeah.
whole week.
Yeah.
So it's been really great. But I would say Thanksgiving's my favorite. And then I would put Halloween and then Christmas. Like I
Okay.
like Halloween. Halloween's a lot of fun. It's gotten less fun as as I've gotten older, just
Yeah.
because you don't get to do as much of the fun stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're more worried about buying expensive candy and
No,
and
no. Yeah.
and working still. Like that's
And work, yeah.
Why do I have to
Exactly.
work
You're
on
gonna work all
Halloween?
day on Tuesday and then expect to be like super festive for Halloween. I totally get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean Halloween is definitely probably my number one just because I've been into Halloween and spooky scary stuff since I was like a little kid.
Mhm.
But Christmas with now that we have the kid, like it used to be Halloween, like hands down. Like I still love Christmas. Again, I love all things festive. But now that we have kids, like it's for me, like Christmas is fun, because
Mhm.
the kids get to open their gifts and it's just a whole different getting to see Christmas through their eyes,
Yeah.
it brings a whole new like life and excitement to like celebrating Christmas. So it really depends on like if you ask me this in December, I'll probably say, "Oh, Christmas is my favorite," but it's still Halloween. Yeah.
Oh man. I got one more. Let's do one more question, and then I'll let you guys go. So usually, if you listen to the open mic, I do like a wrestling themed. You're gonna bring somebody back into wrestling that hasn't watched it in a while, or a new person. What match would you bring them in? But I'm gonna switch it up a little bit because it's a Halloween themed episode. So I'm gonna go with let's go with a movie.
Oh, I
So
knew you were gonna say
someone,
this. Oh
someone that's
man.
not really into Halloween, they're like, bah, I don't, bah humbug, or
Ooh.
whatever they use for Halloween. I'm not sure if that's the right term, bah
Mhm.
humbug, but we'll just use it for that anyway.
Oh.
They're like, I don't get it. Halloween's the what would you show them? What movie would you show them to get them in the Halloween spirit? We'll say,
Oh.
or the spirit of Halloween, just like
So
the
my
store.
knee jerk reaction was to show them 1978, just original Halloween, Mike Myers.
Ooh.
However, because like for me, like if you're gonna show somebody something to get them into Halloween, it has to be a Halloween movie, not just a scary
Mhm.
movie, not just a horror movie. It has to be a Halloween movie.
It's true.
I think though Trick or Treat would probably be it for me because it puts you so in the moment and in the mood and in the vibe of Halloween, like just like the neighborhood, like everything is decorated, everything is like jack-o'-lanterns, everything is like candy and trick or treating and costumes, like the whole
Mm.
movie revolves around the holiday of Halloween. So probably Trick or Treat would be my movie that I bring people in on.
That's a good one. I was like, I'm so like, I was like, I feel like I don't have one to like go to. Like, because especially when you said like it shouldn't just be like a scary movie because you can
Yeah.
watch a scary movie year round.
Yeah.
Um, I would say The Nightmare Before Christmas
That's a
because
good
you
one.
can
I
you
love
Just
can
watch
Nightmare
that.
Before
you
Christmas.
can double up on that because
Yes,
it's
we
not
watch it.
too scary.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's fun. But it also has that spooky Halloween aspect to it, but then you
Mhm.
can also watch it during Christmas time, like, it's a
Yeah.
100%.
double feature.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We.
The Hocus Pocus is a good one too. I feel like
Oh, yeah.
Hocus Pocus
Yeah.
is a good one that you could bring people in and just be like, it's fun. It's fun for everyone, right? Fun for
Yeah,
Yeah.
all ages, and it still encompasses
the
You'll
Halloween
be.
spirit.
the Halloween
Or
spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. I love Ghost
Ghostbusters, that's another good
I
one.
was like,
Yeah,
I
you could
love
do that.
Ghostbusters. That's
We do too. We love Ghostbusters.
We watched Casper. Remember that the
Oh,
Casper movie?
We watched it the
Um,
other day too.
yeah,
Yeah.
my wife cried.
Oh, I
It,
cried too. I told somebody
did
the other
you
day.
what
I
part
do.
did you cry at? It was the same
Oh,
exact
when
scene?
when Devon Sawa, when Casper comes back and
Yeah.
he comes down he comes into the party and he like swoops freaking cat
Yeah.
off of her feet and I'm
oh,
just like
And then the
and to
wife comes
know that it
back.
was just so selfless, like he brought her dad back to life in the Lazarus
mhm.
machine and he had the opportunity, like he only
Uh,
had one bottle of like Lazarus potion left and he used it for her dad because he knew she needed her dad.
Nice.
The whole thing is super emotional and it was emotional as a kid. My son, 6 years old, like we were watching it together and even him, he was like tearing up whenever Casper came
Oh
out,
my
and he
god.
said, "But mommy," he said, "why does he only get to come back for one day?" And I was like, it's like, I'm so
I
sad. But
was
yes,
Well,
I
even the
cried.
theme song to Casper, that little, like,
Yes.
piano theme,
yeah.
Yes.
it's right in the heart. Like,
Yes, I made a
I'm a
reel on my
sucker for a good
personal account
soundtrack.
today with the Casper theme, like the little, like, the bells and just
Piano,
yeah, the
yeah.
piano, like,
Aw.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so emotional. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
my
a good
wife,
one.
she did it. We just watched it tonight. My wife did the same thing. She watched it like a week ago with the kids and she cried then. Same thing happened. Like, he comes back to life. the wife comes back through the window, and
I
he
think
gets
I
to talk
think
to his
that's
wife
you
again.
you get emotional
As you
about
get
different
older.
things as you get older, right? Yeah, because as a kid,
Yep.
you're like, oh my gosh, like Casper's a real boy, which
Yeah.
is still emotional as an adult. But then you see like the whole parental vibe where like the mother's like, I'll be watching over you guys, like
Oh
she's like, you got to
god.
let me
Yeah.
go, and
Yep.
and then like I said, she like Casper knew that she needed her dad. So like, that
Yeah.
her dad could raise her. So he selflessly let her dad come back to life. And it's just the whole thing. It's just
Great. Now I'm gonna go watch Casper
I
right
know.
now.
I feel like
Put it on
Casper's
right now.
underrated. I feel like it never hardly gets mentioned in like,
Oh,
the
it's so
good,
good.
little
There's a
like
little bit of Halloween in it
spooky
too, as
movies.
well.
Yeah. I mean, they have a
Yeah.
There's the
Halloween party. Yeah. They
and
have the
they
big
all
Halloween party at the end.
he scares the hell out of all the kids at the end, and they all run
Yeah.
out of the house. But I was gonna say you'll be sad to know because you brought up Hocus Pocus. My wife took the kids to Salem last
Oh
week,
wow.
and they blocked off that house. You cannot go anywhere near the Hocus Pocus
Really?
house. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
normally you were able to go visit it, take pictures in front of it, but now I guess she said where they put the barricades, it's like a lot more enclosed. So they actually
Aw.
like enclose it a lot more. So like Salem, but I was actually working. She took them like in the afternoon. She took them out of school early, which was pretty cool. And she was like, "Yeah, let's go to Salem and see." She said it was like on a regular Tuesday afternoon. She said it was insane. There's people there
I've seen
everywhere.
TikToks that it's like packed.
Well, see,
Like,
that's the thing. Social media ruins everything
Mhm.
because it's just like, everything goes viral and everybody feels like they have to like either, it's not just like taking a picture anymore. Like people have to do this like this theatrics and like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
of
don't
these like
give it
viral
away.
trends in front of like,
Mhm.
the Hocus Pocus house, which is fine, whatever, if that's your thing. But yeah, it just ruins everything because it
Yeah.
makes everything, now
Yeah.
they've blocked it off and nobody gets to enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That and they have the Bewitched statue. Obviously, you go there in the center of the town. You can take a
Mhm.
picture with Tabitha from Bewitched.
That's cool.
And what else? Obviously, you can see they have like a tour you could do where you could go to the graveyard, and they still have the graveyard
Nope.
of all the witches.
No graveyard
Nope.
tours, no?
No graveyard
Yeah, they have
tours.
yeah,
Nope.
graveyard tours. Yeah, it's like it's a little tiny graveyard, but it's all the
Yeah.
graveyards of all the witches that were burned
Ooh.
or hung or
Oh,
whatever.
I don't want no
Yeah.
dealings with no burned witches for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
Because
I
they
used to
are, I
live
mean, I
there.
can't imagine
They're
they're angry.
mad.
They are mad.
Yeah,
They are
I lived
mad.
near there, and
For
it was
good
pretty.
reason. For good reason. I
It's
don't care.
eerie.
They should burn like, I wouldn't be mad at them for burning the whole city down, but thankfully they're holding themselves back, but yeah, I mean,
As
Jesus.
as much as I love Salem, and it's like that whole center area is like tons of bars, tons of restaurants, so you can like bar hop and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But there's always like a eerie, weird feeling like you shouldn't be out there
Yeah, let's
partying
not
and having a good time because of all the history that's
I told
happened
you
there
that's
and all
the
the.
energy, man. That's
Mhm.
that
It's just
feeling where
weird.
you're just like, yeah, something bad has happened here.
It's a weird vibe, definitely. But this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love this. I have to have you guys on again. This was I have to cook up another themed episode to get you guys on, or just have you on and talk more
Chit chat.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Christmas episode.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
let's do a Christmas one. Yeah.
we'll do a Christmas episode. I'm all
There
about
we
talking
go.
about
All right.
Christmas too.
All right, you heard it here. We're gonna do a Christmas open mic Christmas episode. Can't wait. Maybe someone will dress up as Santa. I don't know, Casey.
I
Maybe you'll.
mean,
No, I'm joking.
maybe I'll be Mick Foley dressed as Santa.
Well, there you
That's
go.
my girl. That's my
Yeah,
girl
there
right
we
there.
go.
Yeah.
But
She's gonna be
all
old
right,
Saint Mick.
Yeah.
Casey, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Over the Moonsault, and you can follow me on X at OT Moonsault. I want to say Twitter, but
I still call it Twitter. I
Yeah.
cannot
For the
call it
time
X. I don't
being.
know. Yeah, it's just like
What do you-
it's not in
yeah.
me to call it X.
well, my business cards have the bird on it
Yeah.
still. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheena, do your thing.
You can find me on Instagram at Chick Foley. Marco actually runs our Twitter machine or our X machine, if you will, at Chick Foley Show. And we have our Foley Fam Facebook group where it's like an exclusive group. You can find all the information about how you can join that at chickfoley.com. We do lots of fun stuff. Foley Rumbles where we, simulate Rumbles on 2K and pick a winner. And we have our Foley Picks League. So lots of fun stuff going on in that group, lots of chit chat. If you're into buying figures, it's the place to be.
Yeah, shit. We share memes. We joke around. It's fun.
Lots
It's
of
fun times.
and yeah, it's a good we have a really good crew of people where it's a nice healthy environment. Like most Facebook there's a lot of Facebook groups that are like, a dumpster fire. Like
Oh,
that is absolutely not the case here. It's a drama-free zone. We have a lot of fun. We rib a lot of our fellow Foley fan members, and it's a good time.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. And definitely check me out at the MVP Marco. I'm starting to be a little bit more active on Instagram. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm usually not that active, but I've been getting inspired by a lot of like different reels and memes and stuff like that. So I've been trying out my witty humor, see if it sticks. So
See if it
hopefully it's
connects.
working.
yeah.
But obviously you can go to the Pod Foundation to check up on all the happenings on all the shows I mentioned in the intro. I'm not going to run down the whole line again. So definitely at Pod Foundation on IG. And that's it. Thank you everyone for listening. And we will catch you later.
Happy
Peace.
Halloween, everyone. Casey, it
Yes.
was a pleasure. I
Woo.
cannot wait to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, I know. Definitely have to get together again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.